Studio, I am joined by two gentlemen, and that is Dr. George Lugalambi, the Executive Director of the African Center for Media Excellence, and Mr. Robert Sempala, the Executive Director, Human Rights Network for Journalists in Uganda. And they're going to clearly elaborate on what transpired today. And I'll go with Mr. Lugalambi first this evening. Just recount and tell us what you think about the state of media freedom, depending on what we saw today.
Thank you, Betty. I think this is one of the worst days, for Ugandan journalism in a very, very long time, that I can remember. To have a situation where there appears to be very, very systematic, almost scripted, effort to brutalize, to torture, to prevent, legitimate journalism. I think it's unconscionable. We condemn it, and I think the security forces, within their command structure, they really have to introspect, look at what has happened.
Yes,
I've seen a statement by the UPDF, which and I like the tone of that particular statement. Yes. But we've been at this for a very long time. We've raised these issues. We've observed these issues, and the statements do come out. The message seems to be the right message, but the action, the behavior that we see consistently, doesn't really, that doesn't really reflect,
yes,
the tone that we see in this statement. So we really need to see action. We need to see these officers, held to account.
Put what is on paper into action.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, from where I'm standing, when I look at Mr. Sempala, all I see is a symbol of rights for journalists. Now, we have seen for the past 2 weeks the perpetrators wearing masks, abducting journalists, and beating and treating them brutally, but none of them has been brought to book. What does this mean? Because I feel like it calls for more people to come and do this, attack journalists, because no one is holding them accountable. What do you think about the state, and what do you think should be done by media houses to protect their journalists in such a situation?
It's very unfortunate that this is happening. But I want to commend at least the leadership of the media today, who have all convened to say we have to take a stand action against this, and so saying we support a blackout on all security forces activities. And this is in good spirits. We are not in any way against the security forces. We do not say they won't be in those public spaces, but we are saying that journalists are not above the law. If you must feel that they have offended any laws of the land, arrest them, take them to a court of competent jurisdiction, let them be tried. Then allowing masked and gooned people to descend on them and beat them to pulp, to near pulp. So journalists are saying no to this, the editors are saying no to this, the owners are saying no to this, and all media development associations and other civil rights organizations, including Parliament and everyone else. So this time around, no one is on the side of the security forces to be able to justify. Because we were talking of journalists who are well blinded, who are moving in blinded cars, who had all their gadgets, their IDs and everything in place to really show them that they were journalists. So for that matter, our work is well cut out, saying, come speak to us, give us solid proof that you are sorry and that you're not going to do this again and again. Just like Doctor said, it is the most ugly days of our times in the media, and this must really come to an end.
And today, one of our reporters, Mr. Lugalambi, David Ijo, said that while at the scene, actually he had them say, those are the journalists, let's go towards them. What do you think is triggering this brutality? Because we're just a mouthpiece, a voice. We've been here covering, yes, like he said, all the operations of security. And what do you think is triggering this at this moment?
I think part of it is really a culture of impunity that has gone completely out of control. Because you see, these are professional journalists, and we're in a situation where, everybody has access to information. So there are so many people out there with their cameras, with their phones, they're taking footage of everything that is happening. But professional journalists are trained, are educated, to exercise filters in the information that they are collecting, so that they can sort of provide the public with information in its proper context with a sense of proportion. So if you start brutalizing, journalists, who are professional doing their job, then you are basically saying that, professional journalism has no space,
okay,
in our civil practice, and I think that is really wrong.
And as we round up, what do you think should be the way forward?
I think just to re-emphasize the point my colleague Robert Sempala says, I think as a media industry, as a media sector, we are starting together. We've got a platform called the Uganda Media Sector Working Group, yes, where the regulators, state actors, including security forces, we have invited them to sit together and really agree on what the standard operating procedures should be, for security operatives when they are doing their work.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Lugalambi. Mr. Sempala, from where I am standing, right now I feel safe. I have you on the side, I have you on the side, like symbols of human rights, and you're defending the journalists from where I am standing. But what do you say, or what do you want to reaffirm to that journalist out there who has to still come to work tomorrow? Because we have to know what came out of those results. We surely have to. Right. Yes. And we have a right as citizens of this country to surely know what came out of the results. Yes. So what is the take home for that journalist who has gone back home, seen others being tortured, but tomorrow another group, which is not the group that is even here today, has to be on the front line putting out these results?
All I want to say is that all is not lost.
Yes.
We will continue fending for this space.
Yes.
We will push back as much as we can, yes, as a collective, and we're very sure that we're on the right side of history,
yes,
and that press freedom as a key tenet of democracy needs to be protected by everyone that is there, yes, and has any little influence or that has power to should protect the media. So journalists should not be cowed back, but should also be a bit more cautious. No story is worth their lives, and that we emphasize, and that's why I want to commend the editors and media houses that evacuated their journalists, that recalled the journalists from the field and said, it's a point of death, please come back. Yes. So we should we'll continue observing the situation from a rights angle. We'll pursue justice for these journalists. We'll try to unmask those people who are behind the attacks, and where we can, we'll pursue them individually to make sure that justice prevails. But we are praying for the recovery of our colleagues. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. we'll go visit them in the hospitals and see how they're progressing. As we move on, now we are a unit.
Okay, that is Dr. Lugalambi and Mr. Sempala for you in studio today, and they're clearly identifying all this that has been happening and giving a recap. From where I'm standing, I am very aware that the tallying process is still ongoing, and we shall also bring you details later of what exactly is happening at the tallying center. Our reporters are still there, our full soldiers are there. Regardless, we move